Formula One teams are constantly updating their cars, whether that's through new bodywork, a new front wing, a new rear wing, a new engine, or something completely different. And it had me thinking, when it gets to the end of the season, what happens to those old parts which are no longer being used? Are they just thrown into the bin, or are they given to staff members as a present, or are they reformatted to something which Formula One fans could buy? And that's where F1 Authentics comes into the picture.
This is the place if you're wanting any official Formula One memorabilia straight from the racetrack, which includes race-worn helmets, race suits, driver's gloves, 2022 wheel rims, brake discs, bodywork, headrests, DRS wings, actual race-driven cars. They even make the 2022 show cars, but that's for another video.
There's a dog.
Hello.
However, you must be thinking, can't I just wait by the bins at my local F1 factory and wait for the parts to be thrown out? Well, unfortunately, it's not that simple. You see, teams don't just want to give out specialized bits of bodywork or components which they've spent millions in developing. Imagine it from their side. You first sketch out multiple versions and then discuss which part to manufacture, then design it in CAD into its 3D form, construct it, further testing, transporting, assembly, running, disassembling, further transporting, then after all of that, be happy to give out your hard-earned IP. Yeah, it's not that simple, and you never know who's potentially wanting to copy your designs. So if a team can't recycle the parts they aren't using anymore, as painful as it is for us fans, it means that most of the time it would be taken straight to an industrial shredder. But this is one of the reasons why F1 Authentics was started, to not only help fans get some incredible F1 parts, but to also reduce and upcycle car parts which otherwise would have gone to landfill.
Right, now as you can see, this is quite a large piece of bodywork from the Mercedes, and it doesn't really have that much historical value because it was only used in one practice session and then it wasn't used ever again. So rather than trying to sell this as one whole piece, what the guys do here is actually they cut it up into small pieces so that everyone has a bit of memorabilia and sold at a cheaper rate. And an example of this is Sebastian Vettel recently announced his retirement, so loads of people are trying to buy some merchandise from him. And wouldn't it be cool to say that you got a piece of his last ever Formula One car? So that way they're not trying to cater to the one person who's going to be buying this, but rather the 100 people who get to have a small piece of history.
Let me introduce the CEO and founder Barry Goff, who can explain how the partnerships work with the teams.
When I worked in Formula One, I saw there was a gap in the market for licensed memorabilia. You could always buy like merchandise, caps, t-shirts at the circuits, but you could never get real licensed memorabilia. We upcycle a lot of parts and stop a lot of parts being thrown away. And that's why I started the business, and basically to give the fans something that's closer to the cars, because Formula One's pretty exclusive. Each team's different. You know, we get race suits from some teams, we get side pods from some teams, we don't just get everything. The teams are very secretive about what they make and produce and how they produce it. We get different stuff, and it's the products or the parts that we can actually sell because there's no IP on it.
But just before we find out about how more products are getting upcycled, I want to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Now, you might have noticed that Surfshark have been sponsoring a few of my videos recently, and it's really awesome, not only because it's actually helping support this channel, but it's a genuine service I've been using for over a year, and it's cool that we can now work together to get you a better discount and to find out what their features are. And by far, the biggest feature I've been using is digitally changing my location to another country for when stuff is geo-blocked here in the UK. So for example, I'm of the firm belief that the best Fast and the Furious film out there is the third film, Tokyo Drift. Now, I know that might upset a few, but that is the case. It is the best film out there. However, at the moment, I can't watch that in the UK. However, it is available over in Netflix in Canada. So all I need to do is just write in the location, click to connect, and it's that simple. But it's not just limited to folk like us in the UK. Surfshark has over 3,000 servers across 95 countries, meaning you can unlock even more geo-block programs and services in different countries. And if you use my promo code MATTAMOS at checkout, not only will you get an 83% off your plan, you also get 3 extra months for free. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try all of this out. And if it's not for you, there's no risk in cancelling. So make sure to click their link down in the description below. A massive thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, but now let's get back to it.
One of my favorite products is our brake disc tables. Mercedes brake disc table, they just look beautiful. It's the way we elevate them, or we like to say is re-engineer them, and we will take that brake disc, we will lacquer that brake disc so that you can't rub your hands on it and get carbon off it. It will be sealed, and then we'll route out a piece of oak, lacquer that oak, and then we make nice coffee tables out of them. Everything's designed in-house. It has to be signed off by the teams to pass everything that they want it to pass so that it all looks on brand.
Now with the actual car components like the exhaust, the engine, some gearing or some brakes, or even some rims like this, which are a bit dirty because they've been race worn, they won't just send them out like this. They'll actually respray them in the team's colors to make they look more appealing. For example, this one is from Aston Martin, painted in their team colors with their logo added onto the front.
Some other parts that could be upcycled is one of the current talking points of the season, the wooden planks, also known as the skid blocks. Before, they used to be thrown away as they served zero purpose after being used in sessions, and having a giant plank of wood on the wall for most fans probably wouldn't be that practical. However, F1 Authentics and Mercedes had another idea of how they could be repurposed.
The newer planks are made of resin, the older planks are made of jabrock, and we'll remachine those and make skateboards out of them. So instead of the planks going to waste, we're using a lot more of the plank and making some cool products. And all those planks have been race use in different races. We've got some front jacks and rear jacks from the teams, which they'll be sold on the auction as is, because we struggle to think of something to make from a rear jack. But you might just have to buy the car to go with it.
Now, it's not just Formula One parts fans can get their hands on, but also signed photos, team wear, and race-worn suits, which can be put up into custom-made frames to easily hang up around the house. And with all of their products being licensed directly with the teams, you'll also have a seal of authenticity, with a security hologram which has an NFC tag, meaning you can scan your product, giving you more information about it.
So you can get race-worn suits, which predominantly sell on the auction. They've obviously been used by the drivers in a certain race or qualifying. Then you can get a replica suit, which is a single layer suit, which is just used for promotional purposes. It's the same for helmets. Helmets are the same, and then it's very rare we get a race-use helmet from a current driver.
Now, I do realise that this all comes in at a high price point, and it's not going to fit to everyone's budget, and it's just due to the nature of all the materials being so specialised. For example, this is Mark Webber's race-worn helmet, and race-worn helmets aren't sold that often, and by the time this video comes out, this would have already been sold.
So on price points, the most expensive car we've sold up to date is £400,000. That was on the auction platform. It's not just, let's get a brake disc and sell it, let's get a gear ratio and sell it. So we're designing products, so it's completely different.
I've just realised everything behind me is Renault 2019, 2018-esque. What's this down here? Renault 2019, Daniel Ricciardo side pod leading edge. Oh, you are coming home with me. Thanks for watching, by the way.